Entering the forest for real here on the Northville Lake Placid Trail. Just got off the road walk from the Oxbow Lake Hotel, and in here is the NPT. Let's hope that the little foibles that have happened already are the extent of my problems as far as the trip goes. Here we are. That's some very dense looking forest on this, looks like an old 2-track. I need to keep an eye open for birch trees. Excuse me. So I can gather up a little bark to get fires going. Could be such a bad idea going with a wood burner, but I brought a backup stove. Just in case it doesn't work out. So many little things you got to keep in mind. Assuming I'm going the right way. So far, it's easy going. Of course, I've probably only gone a third or a half mile at most. And I'm quite sure I will never see an NPT blaze. I hear it, but I don't actually see it. We have a stream. I was starting to have serious doubts that 6 days, not good. I just passed through a gnarly section, lost the trail for a bit, but found it again. This is one nasty, this boardwalk's been here for a long time, obviously. Oh boy. I am hoping that this stream, which I've just taken a little break at, where's the trail? It's over there. I don't know why I'm worrying about not getting my feet wet. I've already stepped in so much water. I don't remember the name of it, but if this is the stream I think it is, I still have about 5 miles to go. It's a nice little stream. Just to get to Spruce Lakes. Spruce Lake campsites and lean-tos, which means that I'm not going very fast at all. Am I losing speed when I have to pause to figure out where the trail is? There have been a couple stream crossings where I've had to take a fair bit of, well, what seemed like a fair bit of time. And there was a section a little ways back on a high point where things got confusing and I was temporarily misplaced. So had to look at the map and set a waypoint on the where the trail appeared to be going and head in that direction. It actually wasn't that far. Oops, ooh, that's a little cold. I wasn't actually that far off, but you don't have to be far off to lose the trail. There it is. And that certainly cost me some time. But, you know, I found it again, so I suppose you could argue that's a confidence boost. At least it's a nice day out. Not too hot. There are definitely mosquitoes out and about, but what are you going to do? Time to keep on going. I had thought it was just getting darker because I was in a denser bit of forest, but I think unfortunately it's getting darker because the cloud cover is getting thicker and the clouds themselves are getting darker. And of course, since it's getting darker out, it makes it harder to distinguish the trail. You really got to pay attention to your feet, what signals they're sending. Earlier I said I thought it was getting dark, it was going to rain. Now look at things. It really is dark, and it is raining. And, well, that's not the worst of it. I screwed up. I don't know how it happened, but somehow, a few miles ago, I turned around and started heading in the wrong direction, and now I'm way closer to Prosecco. Well, where the trail hits the county road, I don't know what number it is, a few mile road walk, than I am to Spruce Lake. So I'm just going to continue on to Prosecco and figure out what I'm going to do from there. Actually, I think right now, maybe I'll put my parka on because it's going to pour. When it rains, it pours. And of course, to continue my trials and tribulations on this trip, I'm wearing the parka inside out. I suppose it probably doesn't really matter, except that it's harder to zip. Now it got dark out. Yeah, my tarp is way too low. My hammock's probably not really ideally set up. After half an hour fiddling about, but I'm sure it will serve. Somewhere just over there, my campsite. Since I'm using a wood-burning stove, let's gather up these little bits. This wood is a bit punky, probably not gonna work, but we'll give it a try. This birch bark is questionable. I think it's birch bark. Well, I'm afraid this is going to be more soupy than I wanted, but hopefully it'll still be good. Salt. I thought I had red pepper flakes, but I don't. Oh! Nutmeg. Black pepper. Well, it's a good thing I had plenty of time, because I spent plenty of that time getting the food ready. It's a takeoff on my pork and apples dish at home. Pork is not something you take in the backcountry, but I thought Spam might work. So we have Spam, potato, various vegetables, corn, mushrooms, some other things, all mixed together, and hopefully it will be good. I'd toss some cheese in there, but to be honest, I think I've got more there than I can eat already. Been awake for 2 hours. At least I think that's what it is. It's about 4 a.m. and we're in a pause with the rain right now. Why can't I sleep? I caught myself nodding off on the drive here. In the last several miles of that, we're on a bumpy dirt road. Is it nerves? Am I worried about tomorrow? My 7 or so mile hike to Stephen's lean-to? Maybe, you know. Even if I don't make a breakfast, just have a bar or something like that, it still takes 2 hours to break camp. Now, admittedly, I had to redo my snake skins on the tarp, so that certainly added some time, but still, I've left the area of the dam, Wakely Dam. I think it's called Moose River recreation area, but I'm not entirely sure of that just because it also says Cedar River on the map. So, I don't know. So night's sleep, as I said earlier. I drifted off, woke up around 10 after 7 and got moving. And left here about 9:15. And with one thing and another, checking location constantly. Also trying to send messages to Andy. It's somewhat later now. There's a clear area coming up, which I'm hoping is Wakely Pond. If it is, then I'm definitely almost there. I just passed by some sort of trail. If there was a sign or a marker for what it was, I didn't see it. But since I haven't come to Wakely Pond, as far as I know, and oh yes, looky here, hallelujah. This is definitely Wakely Pond. Alrighty. And now the satellite messenger sends its message. I don't understand how that thing works. You know, it's had a clear sky. I've been walking along this road the entire time. Into the woods. The defining features of this trail are water and mud and overgrowth. How that person who I read about a couple days ago ran this trail in just over 2 days at night sometimes. I mean, I understand people with normal vision can see really well, but this is, following this would be a nightmare, I would think. Day. I lost the trail many times. I'm sure I lost at least 2 hours. It's probably more like 3. Losing the trail and finding it again. At least I found it again. But I've got a campsite set up nowhere near where I want it to be. I want to get to Stephen's Pond. I'm probably 3 miles short of there. And to add insult to injury, while I was setting my stuff up, my stake bag somehow got misplaced. So I've had to cobble something together for the hammock and the tarp. And my hat's gone missing now, too. At least that I'll probably be able to find, I hope. And if you can't hear it, you probably can, though. I seem to have gotten stuffed up. I wonder if I'm getting a cold. So yeah, this trip's just working out peachy keen. Good morning, sunshine. This is my camp for last night. Well, hopefully I'll find the missing items. And surely today can be better than yesterday. Yeah, I hope. I hope. I wonder how many of these big down trees I've had to scramble over. It's a lot. And the trail isn't always obvious on the other side. Would it hurt them to at least carve notches? I'm slowing down. Each day is slower. I'm going less than a mile an hour. Hell, shoes sucking deep mud. Really, guys, is it too much to ask that you put boardwalks in places like there? I mean, not only is a person at risk of losing their shoes, but the trail totally vanishes. I mean, admittedly, I found it again, but this is the kind of stuff we've been going through all day. All hail to those people that can do 20-mile days. They clearly never lose the trail. I've been averaging between 1.1 miles per hour at the best. I think more likely I'm going closer to 0.8. Just wretched. Life is good when you come to a privy and know that you can't be far away from the lean-to. I lost the trail getting here through the muddy zone and just couldn't find it, so admittedly took something of a minor risk by just going down to where I knew I was about 300 feet from the lean-to. I just didn't know where the trail was. I figured that if I followed the pond, that ought to get me close, because the lean-to needs access to the pond for water. And that pretty much worked. And here is the lean-to. Hooray for fellow hikers that just arrived. Definite New Englanders. They found a pathway that gives us access to the pond. And while they set up their hammocks, I'll get some water. Well, I know the birch bark's burning.
Yeah.
The question is, are the twigs burning?
Been a pleasure chatting with you. I'm gonna go kick back and relax. We
Alrighty.
had a long day, so
Many miles.
Now some filling on the tortilla. My Swedish fire torch never really seemed to catch. So I clearly did something wrong there. Had much more success with just the twigs fires. But we've got a campfire going here that Scott and Don built. I helped a teensy bit. So I'm using some of that heat to fry up my tortillas a little bit in the pepperoni oil. Hiker Midnight. Has come up by about 8:30, 9 o'clock, somewhere around there. Don and Steve have packed it in. I've packed it in now. It was certainly nice having company to chat around the fire. Glad they made it. Today, maybe 0.8 to 1 mile per hour average speed. Just awful. I mean, I lost the trail so many times, and it's slow footing, slow going. I know they're trying for a primitive vibe, but you could put boardwalk in the extra muddy sections. You've got little bridges in some places. Would it kill you to remove the blowdowns that are really obstructing the trail and making it hard to spot in many instances? I mean, sure, you can leave the huge down trees that one has to scooch across. I think I've said this before, but really, some sections of trail are really quite nice. So it's not that they can't do it. Maybe they haven't got the volunteers. I don't know. I hope it gets better tomorrow, even though I'm only doing 3 miles. This is part of Long Lake. It's seen pretty much from where the Adirondack Hotel is. I'm actually across the street from the hotel looking out. Just part of the lake. There's a part to the west that you can't see. Might be a pretty sunset in a little while.
Yeah. Like, New York style pizza is not my thing. The crunchy crust, the toppings aren't really melted in with the cheese.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ask them about the Reuben pizza?
Yeah, it was a special. Now we have a morning hill climb up this road. And the plans have changed yet again. Andy is going to zoom through the last 38 odd miles in 2 days. I can't make that pace. So my trip mutates yet again. I'll go out to some point, and tomorrow hike back to Long Lake. This is quite the hill. Well, so far the tread's actually been pretty good. One muddy spot near the beginning that somehow Andy managed to totally miss and not even see. Of course, I didn't see the trail register. This is what I suppose counts as a bridge on the Northville Placid Trail. Oh.
Red all over the place and corn husks.
Yeah, that's not good. It's too bad. that my view of the lake is obstructed by this massive fireplace here. I'm in one of the lean-tos at Kelly Point. There's a couple over in the other one. Another boat going by. I could have gone on further, say to Rodney, lean-to another, maybe a mile and a half, might be 2 miles. I think it's a mile and a half from here, but there wasn't any point. It's an out and pack hike after all, and tomorrow's weather is going to be crappy anyway, so why do the extra miles? I got here what I got here. Well, I'm pretty sure my eggs are going to be a little wet. Too much water in the egg mixture. On the other hand, the twig fire is working really well. So I'm happy with that. So sit back and relax. I've got a few hours to wait for Andy to finish his 2-day hike between here at Long Lake and Lake Placid, about 38 miles or so. He's probably within 5 miles of being done, and he's got to drive back here to Long Lake and the Adirondack Hotel, where I'm sitting. I've had some food, trying to keep warm. I got blasted by the rain on the road walk back. There's a certain symmetry to that. Not the trip I've been expecting, but the trip I got, and well, it has memories.